Hello. On behalf of BIC Magazine and our sponsor, LiquidFrameworks, I'd like to welcome everyone to today's webinar on how to automate your mobile field operations. This is Robin Dupree from BIC Magazine. First, a few pointers regarding your webinar console. You can maximize or reduce the size of any of the windows. At the bottom are widgets to access resources, including a PDF of the slides. Please click the middle green icon. There is a Q&A box to text in questions anytime during the presentation. We will begin this session of the webinar at the end of the speaker's presentation. If you experience any technical problems, click the yellow question mark. And now I'd like to thank our sponsor, LiquidFrameworks. LiquidFrameworks is changing the way companies in the oil and gas, industrial, and environmental services industries manage their mobile field operations. Their industry-leading software solution, FieldFX, enables our customers to streamline processes between operations, field personnel, and accounting, working both online and off. The results are dramatic savings and increased value throughout the organization. And now, let me introduce you to today's presenters. We have two speakers that will discuss digitizing mobile field operations. First is Travis, COO and founder of LiquidFrameworks. He focuses on growing the company's software platform, FieldFX, and evangelizing its benefits to customers. He plays an active role in the technology, architecture, and overall product vision. Next, we have Harminder, an enterprise transformation manager with CEDA International Corporation. He has more than a decade of experience in the oil and gas construction industries. In 2013, he joined the company as a project accountant, then transitioned to the role of enterprise transformation manager, where he currently assists with the implementation of the company's enterprise systems, standards, and processes in support of the company's continuous optimization strategy. Now I'd like to hand the mic over to Travis.
Thank you, Robin, and thanks to everybody who took the time to join us today in the audience. We are very excited to talk to you today. I think we got some great information to share with you that I anticipate you'll be able to take back to your day-to-day operations and certainly apply and improve your business process. And thank you also to Harminder for joining us from CEDA. We're super excited to hear about your FieldFX implementation and share all that information with everyone on the call today. Just to set the stage of what I'm going to cover, I've got a handful of slides here that I thought I would share with you all before I hand it over to Harminder. I'm going to cover a little bit about who LiquidFrameworks is as a company and talk about who we serve, our customer base. I'll introduce a very high-level overview of our product suite and then get into the details of a typical workflow that we see industrial service providers implement with our product out in actual operations in the real world today. At the end, we'll take questions and answers, of course, and Harminder and myself will both be available to answer any questions that you might have related to product-related implementation, strategy, training, all kinds of things that come into play when rolling out this type of solution to solve the problems that I'm going to highlight here shortly. So having said that, let me start with a quick introduction on who LiquidFrameworks is. We've been around since 2005, about a dozen years, and we focus exclusively on the oil and gas service provider sector, the industrial service provider sector, as well as the emergency response sector. And I'm just pushing the slide here, making sure you guys can see that. We're located in Houston, Texas, and our product suite is the FieldFX product suite. We are primarily, exclusively really focused on the industrial service provider and oil field space. We bring a tremendous amount of domain expertise to that space. Our customer base comprises of strictly people in industrial and environmental, and if you notice the series of logos that you see on the screen, many of these should be familiar. So companies like PSC and Carver and Holcher, USA Environmental. Many of those should be household names that are familiar with industrial service providers or the people in that space today. The thing that really differentiates LiquidFrameworks is that domain expertise. Many of the people that we have here, both on our engineering team as well as our implementation team and our support team, actually came from companies that are working in the energy space, doing operations in the field and providing support to those types of customers, be it operators or full-scale E&P companies that are fully integrated with both downstream and upstream processes. The problems that we typically solve and that you will hear about today from Harminder with respect to what CEDA did are centered around several different things. Slow cash flow is one of the main ones that we target, so improving cash flow by reducing DSO. We reduce DSO by eliminating errors and labor that's involved in generating an invoice based upon a service ticket. So those service tickets a lot of times can come in inaccurate because they're done on paper, and what we do is automate those, and by doing that electronically, we're able to significantly reduce high DSO numbers. Another huge benefit that we see is the ability to recapture lost revenue. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we go out into the field and we're doing our work, and we may have the ability to charge for certain items that are on the contract, but our field technician, our field supervisor, isn't necessarily familiar with that contract. And so they inadvertently leave things off, and that results in bottom line revenue that just simply never shows up because we don't invoice for it. So we have ways that we can solve those problems as well. By automating these things, of course, we reduce the amount of labor and effort that's required to get things into our ERP system, because once we've integrated that with Field Effects, it makes for a very smooth, electronic, error-free process as far as transmitting data related to field tickets to invoices. So how do we do all this? We do it with the Field Effects product suite, which consists of several different modules. And some of those modules are used offline in the field with our field personnel. Some are used in the back office with our dispatchers. Some are used with maintenance managers from the asset management perspective, doing things like preventative maintenance. And then, of course, there's all sorts of other ancillary bits of data that cut across all the facets of a company's department that may be involved in doing everything from safety to maintenance to surveys. It could be a whole host of things. So having set that stage, I thought what I would do is explain the typical workflow that we find our customers use with our product that they use to automate different processes. And in our case, in my example that I'm going to walk you through, I've got two different companies. One is an industrial service provider called Parka, and the second one is Parka's customer called Cirrus Oil. So Cirrus is a global operator. They are fully integrated, meaning they have an upstream business process that is out in the field at the well site, getting the hydrocarbon out of the ground, transporting it back to a refinery, where they then are refining that product into an end consumable product, such as gasoline, plastic, whatever the case may be. And we're really going to focus on the industrial side, where Parka is doing work at Cirrus's refinery. So they might be doing turnaround work. They might be cleaning heat exchangers, doing tank cleaning. It could be a whole host of services that they provide. It could be a very focused service line. So some of our customers are very large and have can do a whole variety of different services, versus some of them are very focused and maybe they only do vacuum services, for instance. So I'm going to talk basically in the context of these two companies. So if I then give you an overview of the data, I want to set the stage for as far as what data is important for us to be able to make all this work between these companies. So we have a whole series of data components that need to be considered in this process, all the way from the contract to the invoice. And so in the beginning, there's the master price book. So the master price book consists of all of the services. It could be labor, it could be products, it could be supplies, things we rent, anything that we are using in delivery of our job to our end customer. In this case, most of our customers have MSAs in place. They may have call-out work they do where they don't, but we have standardized price books that allow you to price various types of product and services with respect to a specific customer, maybe in a specific region, but that data, that pricing data, is specific to that customer that the field engineer is working for. So in this case, I'm looking at a price book that has several items in it: a hydroblaster, an SCBA system for breathing, and then an air cartridge. Each of those three things has different attributes. Could be priced differently, could have different units of measure. It could be other attributes and fields and data bits that we might want to collect along the way related to each of those price book items. But the important thing to note is that we take that price book that's specific to Cirrus Oil for the Gulf Coast region, and then we use it, we build upon all of our other financial documents on top of that price book. So for instance, the quote, the tickets, the invoice, all of that is based on the same price book. So let's take, for instance, our 20K hydroblaster that's $900 a day. You'll notice that that bit of information is carried throughout all four documents and the three transactional documents, thereby providing what we call a four-way match. That four-way match allows us to ensure that what we're giving to the customer's AP department is compliant, so that invoice is compliant with the contract. So all the way from the invoice back to the original contract, which we call the price book, is all in sync. And it's set up so that the end user, the field user, really, if you so choose to set it up like this, really doesn't have the ability to go and put the ticket or the invoice into a non-compliant scenario. So that's important to note because you may have price books in place, but if you don't put some teeth into that process, then it really does you no good, because we know that in the field, sometimes our field engineers get asked to do things a little bit differently, and if they have the latitude to make adjustments, then they certainly will in some cases. So this gets us a great solid four-way match that we can build on and make sure that everything is compliant. And when we get accurate invoices to our customers, then we get paid faster. We get paid faster, it's great for our cash flow, and everybody likes that. So let's talk about that typical workflow. I'm going to walk you through the workflow from the perspective of different end users. And so what we're going to see here is that we've got Cirrus Oil, who has a refining site, and that customer at Cirrus Oil, they make a service request. So someone from Cirrus Oil places a service request that comes into our operations manager. Maybe that comes in as a call or text or an email. In this case, I'm just showing it coming in as a call. We collect some information about that service request. And this could be a service request for a customer that's already got an MSA in place. It could also be a call-out job, kind of a 911 kind of thing. But regardless, we're going to collect a little bit of information from our customer, either on the phone or through the web, through text, however we're communicating. We're going to get that into our initial service request. From there, our ops manager can move that service request into the schedule and dispatch state, into a state where it's ready to be scheduled and dispatched. So from there, our operations manager is hands-off and hands it over to our dispatch manager, who may be at a field location. So maybe that call came into a salesperson, into an ops manager, and they are at one location versus our dispatch manager is maybe at a field location. Or maybe they're at an in-plant service center. So from there, that dispatch manager looks at that service request, at that job request, and decides that certain equipment and certain types of people need to go out and do this work. Well, they've got to find out, based upon certain job certification and training requirements, who to send and what to send. So based on availability and based on qualifications, certs, inspections, re-inspections, and recerts, all those things have to be in place. So we send all that data through a filter, our dispatch manager does, and ultimately gets the right people and the right equipment set up for that job so that now we can send out that entire crew of people to the field to get that work done for the customer. And of course, we're sending notifications through text, email, phone calls, all kinds of things can go out during this component of the workflow so that our crew members get notified in a timely fashion so that they can be at the right place with the right things and the right job location. So from there, we hand it over, the system hands it over to our field supervisor at Parka Industrial Services. So maybe they got a text message and they're ready to go out to the job. Well, in this case, we're running FieldFX mobile on one of the various platforms that we support. That could be an iPad from Apple. It might be an Android tablet, could be a Windows laptop or a Windows convertible tablet. Our supervisor at first has to do a synchronization process where they're connected to the internet. That data that was set up by the dispatch manager and the ops manager comes down to our field supervisor's device, whatever tablet or iPad of choice they're using, and all that data is now available to our field supervisor to go offline to the job site, which he does. He travels, in this case, to a heat exchanger that he's going to clean. Maybe he's going to do a hydroblasting job in the tubes on this heat exchanger. But he's also got to do, let's say, his job safety assessment. He may need to do some type of a site safety survey. So he's got to collect that information. And then he ultimately is going to do his field service ticket. And that field service ticket consists of all of the equipment, services, the supplies, parts, the labor, everything that was done in delivery of that complex service. And this might take place over a period of days, not just hours. It could take several days. Once he's done that service ticket, he needs to get our customer representative to sign that ticket. So we need to get proof of delivery from Cirrus Oil in conjunction with somebody from Parka, our field supervisor in this case, to sign off on this ticket, which we do, and we may need to even collect some other photographic evidence like a stamp, a physical stamp, or it could be a photo of the job site, the finished heat exchanger. It could be any type of photographic evidence. So we capture all that information. That might be a day one ticket. Now our field supervisor needs to do the second day. So they come back for the second day. They finish day one. It's field approved. It's ready for accounting. So it can go out and be invoiced, or it can be queued up to be invoiced at the end of the job. But our day two ticket needs to be done as well. It's really not much different than our day one ticket. So in that case, our supervisor simply makes a copy of that day one ticket, but now the customer representative from Cirrus is no longer available. He's gone to another job, he's gone to another refining location. So our field supervisor, not wanting to delay the process, puts this ticket into a status of routing it into a status of customer community portal approval request. And so by doing that, we now have moved this ticket to our customer self-service portal so our Cirrus representative can come log in whenever they need to and approve it. All this data is on the device, the tablet device, the iPad device. And remember, he's doing all this work with no network connection. So when he gets back to his hotel, maybe he gets back to a field location where he's got network connectivity, he synchronizes his device, all this data gets moved back up to our cloud servers and is now ready for other people to be involved in the process. The next person in this workflow is our customer from Cirrus Oil, who was not available on the job site for the day two ticket, but is available electronically and can log in and can sign that ticket. And now we've got both tickets ready to go to accounting. They've both been approved. Our Cirrus Oil customer can also look at historical data and analyze the historical data as well through the same self-service portal. Once that ticket is ready to go, it can go into accounting. Our accounting executives are notified. Both of those tickets have been approved, and we can now move those into our ERP system at Parka, which can be sent in as an invoice that can then go out to our customer for final payment. Of course, our accounting executives at Parka have the ability to look at reports and dashboards as well. Finally, we couple up this entire process with an asset management module from FieldFX that allows us to take that information from the field and track usage and passage of time in certain key events that might need to trigger repair work orders or could be regular maintenance work orders. All of that information is tracked. We can take that from the field and multiplex it across both accounting, operations, as well as the maintenance department. So what you're seeing there is a typical workflow. It's soup to nuts and includes all types of business actors from the field all the way up to our accounting executives and management that might want to come in and see important reports. We do all that with various modules that work in concert as a holistic solution from FieldFX. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Harminder, who's going to walk us through a very customer-specific implementation of FieldFX at CEDA. Harminder, to you.
Thank you, Travis. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Harminder Bhavra, and I'm one of the Enterprise Transformation Managers here at CEDA. And I'm here today to talk about our current implementation of FieldFX. A bit of background about myself. I've been at CEDA for 5 years now. Previously, I worked on site for a hospitality services company in the oil field as the financial lead for its biggest client in Canada. At CEDA, I started out as a project accountant responsible for our pressure and vac and chemical cleaning divisions in our Western and Rest of Canada regions. In 2014, I moved over to the Enterprise Transformation team, where I've been one of the individuals responsible for maintaining our current ERP. So who is CEDA? We are a leader in the industrial maintenance, turnaround, and construction services. We offer a wide range of services, pressure and vacuum, chemical cleaning, mechanical and fabrication, pigging to coking, dredging and fluid management, pipeline services, and electrical services. We operate across Canada and have recently opened an office in Houston. We currently have approximately 2,200 employees company-wide. So I wanted to talk a little bit about CEDA's current state when it comes to our ERP and field ticketing programs. We currently have an on-premise ERP program that helps CEDA manage our products, supply chain, accounting, human resources, and finance. It provides a comprehensive and core functionality we need to run efficiently and make smart business decisions and engage our customers. Attached to our ERP, we have our current field ticketing software, and here we have a dispatch, service order management, mobile application, and EAM modules. The goal of our current field ticketing software was to enhance the flow of business information while connecting field employees, customers, and partners. The current product was to help CEDA's strategic growth initiatives while reducing response times, lowering costs, and improving our internal and external key performance indicators. And of course, increasing customer satisfaction. The integration between our two systems is hard-coded, and the information is shared bidirectionally. Our current field ticketing software is just about 3 years old now, but we have seen some issues in the system performance. We find it slow and clunky, multiple clicks to perform simple tasks, opening up multiple pages to find information. It wasn't readily available and accessible to users. Currently, any customizations we require in the system had to be done through our service provider, and we were at the mercy of their time and their commitment. Generally, all work was done over budget and was not delivered on time. For an example, the process to load a new rate schedule took our provider almost 8 months to complete. Now, they did not work on it every day, but from the time we placed the request to when we promoted it into production was 8 months. There's been no innovation from our provider, where other field ticketing solutions are constantly upgrading their platform. We were still in the same product that we've had 3 years ago. And any upgrades to the product, CEDA had to pay for, and it was not a very cost-conscious model. The mobile product was not streamlined, and it was confusing to use. A common issue that users mention is there's too many clicks to enter the information, and the product was not designed with the end user in mind. There's no dashboards available, and to create a dashboard, we created reports, and we were required to hire a consultant to do this for us. We cannot control the security of the product to the granularity that we required. Locking down a field was a customization, and we required the provider to do this for us. We had users that would change settings without even knowing that they did so. So why would we take on a project such as ripping out our current field ticketing system to implement a new one? With all the issues that we've seen with our current solution, CEDA made a decision to look at other solution providers so that we are at the leading edge of technology, but did not regress from what our current solution provided. Some of the key requirements for CEDA to make the switch over to a new solution were dashboarding capabilities, a streamlined mobile entry for operations, Salesforce integration, a self-managed product, an in-cloud solution, increased security features, and a mobile solution that operated on any device. In other words, a device-agnostic solution. Integration with our GPS data provider, and lastly, easily integrates with our current ERP. So why did we choose FieldFX? When looking at options, FieldFX was a product that CEDA truly felt would be an ideal solution to meet our business needs not only now, but in the future. As well, we felt that LiquidFrameworks was a company that we wanted to partner with. Some of the advantages that CEDA saw both in LiquidFrameworks as well as their product were they knew our business. They only deal with companies in the oil and gas, industrial, environmental services. They understood what each level of the organization would require, whether it was up to the administrator or up to our CEO. It's a cloud-based solution, so we no longer required an on-premise solution. The ability to optimize the product at all levels to support the business requirements, and it was a cost-benefit solution with the client's needs ahead of the organization. So referring back to the slide highlighting some of CEDA's requirements, the FieldFX product is an open box concept that allows for easy configuration changes. Our FieldFX implementation manager understands our needs and requirements and is able to configure the system very quickly. Last year, we implemented Salesforce for our business development team. FieldFX sits within the Salesforce platform, which allows us better options for support applications, but also allows us to track from opportunity to project closeout. We decided not to hard code our integration with this ERP solution, but instead went with a middleware software. This software will help us make future ERP upgrades easier and more cost effective. On the next slide, I'll show you a picture, but the dashboard and reporting is robust. We can use our Salesforce administrator to create them for us in-house. The mobile application is device agnostic, and we currently have intrinsically safe devices that are window-based that we will be deploying out to the field. As well, we are currently testing Apple iPads for future developments. The mobile application is straightforward and simple. Our current testing shows a great reduction in time entry compared to our current solution. The FieldFX model is very cost conscious, and license fees include all system upgrades. And then lastly, we control our development. The product is self-managed, requiring little to no external support. Our current solution, on the other hand, is very highly customized and very costly and inefficient. It's a server-based product requiring hardware maintenance and upgrades. It's cumbersome, the interface is slow, as well as the user acceptance was at a very low rate. It was hardwired into our ERP, which increases complexity and cost for any of our future upgrades. All changes to our current product required a consultant-based implementation. There was a lack of ability to interact with other CEDA systems, such as GPS tracking, payroll, and any other of the other systems that we use here. Lastly, the lack of support from the product from the provider. It was very hard to ever get them on the phone, get any information out of them. This slide here, I really wanted to highlight the greatest advantage to FieldFX over other products that we've at CEDA felt that took the products to the next level. The dashboarding capabilities are second to none. Essentially, you have the ability to create your own dashboards very easily, and it can be done internally. Again, it's a self-managed product. One of the benefits that FieldFX has over other solutions is that any field that you created in the solution can be reported on. This has allowed CEDA to build out reports and dashboards, capturing more information than our current solution has allowed us. We will have the ability to create our own equipment and labor utilizations, safety dashboards such as incident management, revenue tracking by client, as well as employee certification expirations. And all of these can be done at the highest level at CEDA as a company or down to the client's location that we are servicing. We will be developing a daily executive dashboard where our regional and corporate executives have the ability to run specific reports they require to better manage their business. Revenue by client and region, estimated profitability, customer satisfaction, and work type breakdown. And again, these dashboards give our executives better insight into their operational results in real time instead of relying on external spreadsheets or word of mouth from their operational groups. In terms of our project team and implementation strategy, it was our greatest success for the project. Our field effects sponsors made the decision to build out a project team. I have to say that this project chart only represents the key individuals on the project, but under each of these leads, we had more CEDA resources committed to the success of the solution. Myself, I was the project manager. I'm the project manager, on this implementation. To deal with system configuration reporting, we have a Salesforce admin. Our information technology lead is responsible for dealing with our integration, hardware for mobile, as well as any IT-related duties. Our asset manager is responsible for the creation of the enterprise asset management, or the EAM solution, as well as the general day-to-day asset requirements. The operations lead dealt with development of the dispatcher, contract admin, mobile user, and approver roles, as well as any supply chain, health and safety, and learning and development requests. Lastly, our finance lead was responsible for the configuration of the project accounting role, specifically around the price book creation and the integration of contracts and projects from our ERP. Our implementation strategy was simple. We've already gone through an implementation of our current ERP and field ticketing software, so we knew what to expect, both from a project perspective as well as a people perspective. Back in February is when we had our project kickoff, and from there, LiquidFrameworks spawned our new environment for us. We spent time as a project team configuring and testing the environment, and in August, we brought in 18 people from the business that we felt were superstars in our current system, and we brought them in for a 2-day end-user testing. The 18 people were able to log issues and ideas to enhance the solution. Now we're going to progress over to user acceptance testing version 1 and then version 2, and then we'll go on to training and lastly go live. So where does CEDA look for future opportunities? We're not always looking at just the implementation of field effects. We're looking at where the solution can be in the future. So we are still targeting a Q4 go live. All the historical data that we currently have in our current solution will be uploaded to field effects so that we have one system of record. And as you can see in the picture, we do have some mobile tablets right now and are in the process of updating them with a new field effects application. In stage 2, we're looking to push notifications of service orders that have not been used to the operational leaders, again, reducing our revenue leakage. And we want to phase in the rest of CEDA with mobile devices in 2018. Last part of stage 2 is to implement a work breakdown structure to help manage our construction jobs. And in stage 3, we're going to have the integration of GPS tracking for real-time reporting. The advantage of being in the Salesforce platform is that we are no longer limited to the selected providers for our current system. The Salesforce App Exchange has the ability to add multiple apps that will seamlessly integrate into their product. We'll implement a process where a client-approved service order can be invoiced automatically, helping to reduce our daily sales outstanding. And since we are now embedded into Salesforce, we have the ability to report on project lifecycle from opportunity to the project closeout. As well, since we've integrated with our ERP, we can further analyze the margins and profitability at both a project and client level. That's about all I had to say regarding the field effects implementation. We truly do believe that the partnership with LiquidFrameworks will help achieve CEDA's goals. I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your day to attend this webinar.
Thank you, Harminder. And with that, Robin, we'll turn it back over to you.
Yes, this will now begin our Q&A portion of the presentation. If you have any questions, please submit through the Q&A portion of your web browser. Emily? Travis?
Okay, thank you, Robin. So we have first question is related to reporting in the system, and I think it's specifically related to field ticket reporting in the field. So the question is, what if we wanted to have a report that was specifically branded for our customer? So the answer to that is certainly you can do that. The system does a fantastic job of allowing you to put together multiple types of reports, field ticket reports that can be sent out to customers branded with their logo, co-branded with your logo and their logo. And certainly we have lots of customers that actually do that. So you can have a generic single brand for your company like CEDA does, and then you could also have it co-branded with your refining company on there as well. And the system can be configured to be smart enough to know which report to use, so that when you're doing a job for that kind of customer, it would only allow the end user to use that particular co-branded report versus a job for another customer that might not be as large. Maybe they just use the generic single branded report. So great question. The next question that I'm seeing is, can we keep the field users from seeing the price but have the price show up when it gets back to the office? So I think the "it" is the service ticket. And yes, we have lots of customers doing that, whereby they have the ticket itself that's being generated in the field at the customer location, at the customer's refinery. Maybe it does not have any type of pricing information on it, except for maybe material and volume is on there. Well, once that data gets back to the office, it's of course enriched with pricing by the system. So the admin users don't have to do that. The accounting users don't have to do that. It automatically enriches the pricing. So great question. The next question, is there any existing integration with Sage and other ERP systems? Great question. We integrate with really any ERP package or third-party product that's out there. Every one of our customers has some level of integration with certain numbers of ERP packages or certain numbers of third-party systems, sorry, should I say. FieldFX has about 7 different APIs that can be leveraged. So there's everything from loading massive amounts of data all at once in a very rapid fashion, it's called the bulk API, to things that are more formalized and hardly typed, which would be the SOAP API. And there's REST APIs, all kinds of different ways to move data in and out of the system. And they're out-of-the-box connectors with third-party integration tools, so middleware components like Jitterbit and Boomi and Informatica and just a whole host of those that are out there, cast iron, that will let you connect up with FieldFX and through point-and-click integration, pull data out of FieldFX and map it over into other third-party systems like Sage. But yeah, all of our customers take ticketing data out of FieldFX and create invoices in their ERP packages. The next question is, what sort of hardware devices can be supported by the product? So our mobile product is an HTML5 application that will run on a variety of different platforms. So we have customers running it on iPads. We have customers running it on Android tablets. You can also run it as on a Windows desktop. You can run it on a Windows tablet, like convertible tablet, if you wanted to, Windows Surface. Those things are great, super fast, nice machines. So a variety of different platforms. The back office component can run on anything as well, although we see pretty much everybody running it on laptops or desktops. So I'm being told that that is all the time we have, and I believe that was our last question as far as timing. The other questions that we have queued up, I don't want you to think that we're not going to get to your question. We will certainly send answers to you one-on-one and get those questions cleared off as well. Thank you so much for everybody's time. Thank you, Sita, and thank you, Bic, for helping to facilitate and put this together. We certainly appreciate everyone's involvement. And thanks again for everyone that attended.
Thanks again, Travis and Harminder, for a great presentation. The recorded version of this presentation will be available in about 2 hours at bicwebinars.com. Feel free to watch it again and share with your colleagues via social media. On behalf of all of our friends at BIC Magazine and CEDA and LiquidFrameworks, we all like to say, have a great day. Thank you so much.